True North Review, True North Reviews, True North Reviews.
Hey there, welcome to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today we are going over my picks for the top 100 songs of the 2010s. All of them either fit into music conversation at large last decade, including culture, politics, social relevance. They might make us shed a tear or smile uncontrollably, but above all else, these are incredibly written songs, in my opinion, that played as big of a role as some of the life events I went through in adolescence and emerging adulthood, those kinds of things. Personally, I wish I could make this list longer because cutting it down to 100 proved to be a job in itself, so please don't be upset if you see a song missing. These are by no means the only great songs of the last decade. Plenty more where they came from, so make sure you tell me your favorite songs of the 2010s down below in the comments. To save some time, let's just roll through the bottom 50. They'll be rolling up on your screen right now, and if you want to take a moment to pause the video, read through some of the titles, see if you recognize them, like the songs, dislike them, be sure to do all of that, and then we'll get started with the top 50. All right, now we have the top 50 locked and loaded. First up at number 50, we have the futuristic pop gem of Gone by Charlie XCX and Christine and the Queens. The second single off of Charlie, this glitzy and glitchy tune will make you simultaneously want to break down and break free. At number 49, we're giving it to Taylor Swift, Tay-Tay, T-Swizzle for her infectiously catchy pop transformation of I Knew You Were Trouble. In a decade marked by numerous chart-topping singles, this Taylor Swift song, it resonated with me the most, especially with that goat meme. Seriously or not serious, this song is a jam. At numbers 48 and 47 respectively, we have Shake Me Down by Cage the Elephant and M83's Midnight City. Two very nostalgic tracks for me, one Rock Euphoria and the other 80s throwback Bliss. 46 sees one of my favorite hip-hop tracks of the decade, one that is politically sharp and a concise summary of the racial and religious divide that the states went through. This is A Tribe Called Quest with We the People. At 45 and 44 respectively, two inescapable mainstream hits, one more danceable and riddled in charisma. It is David Guetta and Sia's Titanium. And then we have the other track that is more in your feelings. It's not Drake, but it is Gautier's one hit, Somebody That I Used to Know. Moving on from there, Americana and folk are all over this next track from JS Ondara at number 43. It is, of course, the gorgeously played and performed Lebanon. Switching back into hip-hop, we are settling a debate that has gone on for long enough. Sicko Mode, Mo Bamba, why not both? Well, today I'm telling you it is Travis Scott's Sicko Mode. A multi-compositional, shifting, living, breathing banger that, even with Drake's references to Xanax, I can't deny my love for it. Next up at 41, it is another undeniable jam. It is the best that Arkells could offer the Canadian alt-rock scene over the 2010s. It is the karaoke king of songs, Leather Jacket. Now, if you're looking for alt-rock, indie, more lo-fi aesthetics, I gotta tip my cap to Car Seat Headrests for their song Drunk Drivers, Killer Whales. That one is showing up on the list at number 40. A little bit of a lapse in judgment for number 39. I forgot to talk about it when I was recording, so here we go. At number 39, we have AWOL Nation's Sail. This is one song that you do not want to leave off of a party playlist, a workout playlist. This song is incredibly versatile no matter your mood. Questioning what it means to be a rock star in a trap-dominated era of music. At 38, I'm giving this to Post Malone's Rockstar. That one's featuring 21 Savage. Speaking of features, this next track at 37 is a curated showcase for the ages. All masterminded by who else other than Kanye West. It is Monster. Now, granted, this song would be nothing without its collaborators, and it kind of is a synergy of Jay-Z, Rick Ross, Bon Iver, Kanye. But But we also got someone on this track who might have delivered one of the most off-the-walls and savage verses from the decade too, with Nicki Minaj. Seriously, it is a verse like this that reminds us all that there is no competition between Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. Moving on and back to a similar time when Monster was a big deal, the 2010s also had a mysteriously MJ-inspired singer waiting for his big moment to shine. At number 36, I am placing The Weeknd's Wicked Games, and although this song might not be the peak of Abel Tesfay's commercial success, it is one of the earlier tracks that exemplified and best introduced us to that mystifying character of The Weeknd. What makes it even more impressive is that he not only displayed his vocal prowess, he also had that dark and dismal production to back him up in a special way as well. Wicked Games is essentially a soundtrack for the loveless generation, just someone desperately craving confidence and power even though this person is obviously broken up inside. It is such a great song. Much like this next one at 35, it is one of the most well-written pop songs, period. It is by another Canadian artist. Cue the saxophone. It is Carly Rae Jepsen with Run Away With Me. Shout out to Jeff Rosenstock for topping that with his Song of the American Dorm Room. At 34, Festival Song is taking home the glory by screaming and shouting its way there, magically guided by power pop and punk rock. Next up at 33, we have an industrial backdrop and noisy cacophony of influences on the Algiers track, The Underside of Power. Meanwhile, we slow things down at position 32, spotlighting a perfect country ballad given to us by Chris Stapleton. I'm of course referring to Tennessee Whiskey. It will be timeless no matter the decade. 31 is going out in tribute to a fallen Canadian music icon, Gord Downie. I'm giving it to his band, The Tragically Hip, for their song In a World Possessed by the Human Mind. Now, coupling two songs that are on opposite sides of the spectrum stylistically, I am introducing Brockhampton's San Marcos and Slipknot's Unsainted at positions 30 and 29 respectively. Both tracks achieving the same cathartic listening experience while sounding absolutely nothing like one another. Creeping closer to the top 25 at 28, I gotta give it to the soulful croons of Leon Bridges for his song River. Between Leon Bridges and J.S. Ondara, I don't know who is my favorite, but both R&B artists easily, definitely deserve their spot for best songs of the decade. Romping and thumping in at number 27 though, we have Sturgill Simpson and his bluesy country rock song Call to Arms. Meanwhile, after that, we have A Great Big World and Christina Aguilera teaming up on their tearjerker Say Something. That one clocks in at number 26. Some people might call this next song fun because it's by an artist. Fun. Some Nights is kicking off the top 25 with their infectious and powerful drum lines. Keep in mind that auto-tune towards the end of the track is still questionable for some, but it's a great song regardless in my opinion. You know what else is a great song? Dark Necessities. It has one of the best slap bass lines I've heard. It is the moment in song that finally clicked with me when I could admit that Red Hot Chili Peppers, they could do it. They could pull off something special with producer Danger Mouse and with their new guitarist at the time, Josh Klinghoffer. That song slides in at 24, now 23. It is the 1975 and their magnificent, gorgeous work on Love It If We Made It. In a world where modernity has failed us and we're surrounded by constant letdowns and disgrace, the 1975 both tease and release tension into one of the most euphoric and anthemic tracks that the 2010s had to offer. Another great offering from the 2010s, it comes courtesy of the English songstress Adele. Rolling in the Deep is the 22nd best song in my books this past decade. It was one of those massive singles that helped to break out this star into mainstream success and achieve household name recognition. Next up at 21, no, sadly, Adele didn't have one of her 21 songs in this spot. Instead, we have the incredibly jubilant and gleeful Coldplay single, Every Teardrop is a Waterfall. It is still one of my biggest dreams to see Coldplay perform live, and I would absolutely bawl my eyes out listening to this. Also bringing a tear to my eye is the 20th song on this list, Both capitalizing on talented songwriting and soaring vocals into the stratosphere, it is Lady Gaga's Million Reasons. And although we never find out exactly what those reasons are, is she questioning her faith? Is she unsure of her passion for music? Her love for someone else possibly? That's the ambiguous power of Lady Gaga's lyrics. Now, each person might relate to this song in a slightly different fashion, but it's incredible what Gaga did on Million Reasons, especially after cornering herself into that dance genre earlier in the decade and the latter half of the previous one as well. Now, not cornering himself in anything last decade, Avicii became one of the most revolutionary and innovative producers. Rest in peace. If you're familiar, obviously mixing and melding folk and electronica was his specialty, and those genres came together as well with the singer Aloe Blacc on the song Wake Me Up. Clocking in at number 19 on this list, the authentic and genre hybridity of folktronica has not nearly sounded this good ever since Avicii unfortunately left us in 2018. Thankfully, though, his creativity and artistic vision will live on with this career-defining highlight, only leaving the next generation of producers and music fans inspired. Now, traveling back to 2017, that's where we head for our next spot, number 18, with The National and their song The System Only Dreams in Total Darkness. And being one of the most dejected and melancholic bands that I happened to listen to last decade, The National surprisingly didn't fail to capture my attention with this beauty of an alt-rock song. Hopefully it doesn't slide under your radar like it did for me initially. Moving on to 17, it is Walk by Foo Fighters, and with this song, I just feel like I'm put into a time capsule every time I go back and re-listen. I'm so ecstatic, I'm so joyful, there's not enough words to describe my happiness while listening to this song. I will forever envision myself like on a road trip listening to this rock jam. Also an easy pick for a road trip playlist, it is Heartbeat by Childish Gambino, quite possibly his best song. It is here at number 16. And yes, it might not be suitable for younger audiences, but that Hometown Glory sample though, Adele, yeah, that makes this song pop. I don't know how I can keep my energy contained for this next song. At number 15, it is the classic concert closing cut by 21 Pilots, Trees. This song, man, it just makes me want to be religious. And if anything in music can do that, that's incredibly moving. That is incredibly... it leaves me speechless. Following up Trees is obviously a tough task, and at number 14, it's a song that doesn't really appear to have much going for it on the surface. But that being said, the monotony that is channeled through this song so elegantly, so effortlessly, it is remarkable. I'm holding out on the introduction for as long as possible, but it is Shakey Graves and their tune Dining Alone. Now, not only holding out on the name of the song, this next masterpiece at 13 was my song of the year in 2019, and it is the dynamic progression that holds out as well as the vulnerability that gets me every time. This is the Glorious Sons and Pink Motel. In 2018, this was my song of the year. It is the Yearning to Escape track by James Bay, Pink Lemonade. A commanding vocal presence is on here, as well as a strong, steady, yet simple drum beat. Everything fires on all cylinders, frankly. Also firing on all cylinders is a former One Direction member, Harry Styles. His track Sign of the Times sits just outside the top 10, and I don't think Harry will ever reach that same pinnacle of epic rock ecstasy again. Not to discourage him and not to discredit him either, it's just that he set the bar so friggin' high on Sign of the Times that not even the music video could visually depict how high he goes up into the skies. Hopefully life isn't too short for you not to care about the top 10 songs of the 2010s, because we're doing that right now. We're kicking things off with Young the Giant and their song Cough Syrup. One of the most exciting and explosive alt-rock anthems from a band that is criminally underrated for not only their singles, but their full bodies of work as well. One song that might get a little too much praise, but is still worthy of the number 9 spot on this list, it goes to Get Lucky by Daft Punk. The groove, the personality, the vocal performances, both from Pharrell and the robotic vocal effects, it all culminates in a long-spanning 6-minute track that is worth every second of your time, every time you listen to it. Moving on and coming through with what might just be the hip-hop song of the decade. It is from K-Dot, Kendrick Lamar, on The Blacker the Berry. On this cut, Kendrick hones and voraciously depicts the struggles of black lives all over top of the most banger beat you could possibly imagine. And then we progress into this smooth, jazzy outro. Not much gets better than this in terms of hip-hop. Really, not much else gets better than that this decade, actually. At number 7, we have Lorde blessing us with her phenomenal piano ballad, Liability. The lyrical sentiment on here is just so bittersweet. The writing is poetic. The great poets from the past would be jealous of this, honestly. Inching so close to the top 5, we have yet another song that personally relates to me a great deal. Again, it's up to other people to make their own definition, own interpretation of the song. But with the ambiguity and the emotional spell that Metric cast on their song Breathing Underwater, it is extraordinary. No matter if you're struggling with depression or on top of the world elated like you just won the lottery, Breathing Underwater will make every listener question, is this my life? Is this it? Is this all that is meant for me? It is simple yet emotionally relatable to the masses without being cheesy. It is fantastic. Unfortunately, asking, is this my life? It's futile because it can only go on for so long until your life comes to an end. And that's exactly what David Bowie predicted and captured on his terrifying song Lazarus, which is here at number 5. From the vibrato vocals to the lyrical imagery to the infectious groove, the sax solo, the drumming, to the everything, I can't think of a better suited swan song for a legend. All of this coming at the end of a career that was as well received and as well respected as Bowie. Deservingly though, in the 4th spot, we are graced with an indie folk song, Helplessness Blues by Fleet Foxes. Such a gorgeous arrangement on this song and lyrics that are telling of a frustrated and confused generation. Lacking that purpose, lacking that direction, left tongue-tied and dizzy, this song leaves me in awe over its beauty. Somehow beating out that song though, we have Praying by Kesha at number 3. The self-aware, empowering crown jewel of her record Rainbow, Kesha learns to fight for herself and says farewell to someone or something that put her into tough positions, unfortunate situations, and she shakes out all the anxiety on this song for good, all thanks to her powerhouse vocals. And then there were 2. At number 2, it's a song that won't necessarily blow you away vocally like Praying did, but what it lacks in virtuosity, it makes up for with bleak, ironic, and cynical songwriting. Josh Tillman, aka Father John Misty, wrote Pure Comedy, that album behind me, as well as this song, Pure Comedy, the title track from that album, and it is the second best song from the 2010s, in my opinion. And just about on any sad day, I could see myself placing that in the number 1 spot, but I wanted to shy away from the grim and gruesome narratives for the number 1 because as hard of a time as it was growing up in the 2010s, either mentally, financially, philosophically even, we shouldn't really overlook the resilience that people have to overcome hardships or hard times. And with that kind of introduction, I think you can tell where I'm going with this. The song of the decade, for me, is Hard Times by Paramore. This song, for Hayley Williams especially, was placed on a record that appeared to be fun and lighthearted sonically. However, enter the depressive and hopeless feelings, all of the tough things that Hayley has seamlessly worked into her lyrics over the years, and you're left with a song that is as playful as it is tragic. Really, the frickin' motto of the 2010s, if you ask me. Musically, though, you have that slick 80s throwback sound, the bouncy bass, the earworm chorus. I can't see myself giving this honor to any other song. I know that there's plenty of other songs deserving of that best song of the decade spot. I am really curious to know what you guys think of my list here today. I want to know what some of your favorite songs from the past decade were, and what you think the best song is now. Do you think it will stay the same 5-10 years down the road? After all, music is subjective, and I love to have you guys in on this conversation, and that's about it. That's all I have for this video, the top 100 songs of the 2010s. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you're new in town. I'd appreciate that very much. As always, thanks for watching, and have a rockin' day.